But what I will say before we keep going is I will be saying something today. I'll be saying a little prayer. And when I do that, I'm going to take my camera off, but then I'll turn it back on and pass it over to my coworker, Sean, her lovely children in the background. They really want to help. It's very sweet. And then, so I'm going to, well, you'll see. You'll see. It'll be very good. Okay. So welcome everyone. Oh, Shanoa, yay. Hi, Shanoa. Thank you for joining us. So welcome everyone. Natalie Giazzo, Goyokono, Kanawiyuge, Nodage. I'm Natalie. I come from Oklahoma Cayuga people. I work here at NIF. I'm going to say a little prayer now. When I do that, I'm going to turn my camera off and then I'm going to read it. I'm going to tell you what it means in English and then I'm going to turn my camera back on. So see you in a moment. Swaguego, Swadosios, Nigai Huakwa, Dead Wadanahonyo Gwesawa, Dead Wadanahonyo Etinoha Ojade, Dead Wadanahonyo Hadiwano Yurage Onoguatra Mi, Dead Wadanahonyo Waniota, Dead Wadanahonyo Ne Ode Hadoni, Dead Wadanahonyo Ne Gadino, Dead Wadanahonyo Ne Onegagauno, Dead Wadanahonyo Ne Kyoheko, Dead Wadanahonyo Ne De Yowawenye, De Yetinahonyo Ne Etisot Hanewendo Dagies, Des Wadanahonyo Sarwagia Edeka Gaguikies, De Yetinahonyo Ne Etisot Asoheka Etni Dagies, De Yetinahonyo Ne Ojisodasia, De Yetinahonyo Ne Kie Nigionwente Hariohe Geno, Des Wadanahonyo Ne Songwaidiso, Danato Nakagweni Ike Akikada Ganahonyo, Danato. What that translates to in English is everyone listen for a little while. The people will greet each other. We will give thanks to our mother, the earth. We will give thanks to the weeds and medicines. We will give thanks to the hanging fruits. We will give thanks to the trees. We will give thanks to the animals. We will give thanks to our waters. We will give thanks to our sustenance. We will give thanks to the stirring winds. We will give thanks to our grandfathers, the thunderers. We will give thanks to him, our elder brother's sun. We will give thanks to our grandmother moon. We will give thanks to the stars, and we will give thanks to the four heavenly beings. We will give thanks to him, our creator. That is all for what I was able to give thanks. That is all. And with that, I will pass it to Sean.
Thank you, Natalie, for that beautiful opening. And I'm just going to do our land acknowledgement and we'll get started with our event. I want to thank the original and current stewards of this land, the Duwamish, Nisqually, Suquamish, Snoqualmie, and Muckleshoot peoples, who allow us to be guests here and call Seattle our home, and continue to fight for the sovereignty and protection of the people, culture, land, water, plant, and animal relatives, those things that fly, swim, and crawl. I want to welcome you all to our first night of our Blue Jay event that will be going on all week. I also want to acknowledge our staff here at Na'ilihi that have worked very hard to put this event on. You guys have done an amazing job, and apologies to our executive director who couldn't make it tonight, but I am in her stead. So please, yes, join us for a wonderful week. I'm so excited to have you all here. My name is Sean, she, her. I'm New Channels. My people come from Vancouver Island in Canada. I've been with the Na'ilihi Fund for about 7 years. I started as a coordinator. I am now manager of the youth program. It's really been wonderful to see how this organization has grown and changed over time. Our mission now and has always been to support and promote the leadership of Indigenous women in the ongoing regeneration of Indigenous communities in the Pacific Northwest region. This many different forms, some of which you will hear about later this week at both our Sovereign Futures Cohort panel and our Food Sovereignty Grantees panel. When we say Pacific Northwest, we include Alaska, British Columbia, Washington, Idaho, Montana, and Oregon. NIF is firmly rooted in Indigenous-led philanthropy and strategic action as we advance self-determination, cultural health, and environmental justice in the Pacific Northwest. This can look like providing workshops, education, experiences, and other support to Indigenous-led projects for communities. Some of their stories will be told during this year's Blue Jay. NIF's Autumn Arts and Culture event. This is the 12th annual Blue Jay, and this year it looks like a lot like an online festival for 6 days. We will have storytelling in the evenings, panels during the day, a beater social, and our Indigenous Leadership Awards. Take a look at the chat box for our Blue Jay schedule link to find out more. We also have an event sponsor this year for the first time, Seattle Foundation. A big thank you for their help and support for putting this event on. We raise our hands to you. Next, I'll pass it to my co-host, Natalie, who will be hosting this year's Blue Jay.
Got to mute myself before I started speaking. Haha. Now, thank you everyone for coming. Blue Jay is my baby. I here at NIF, I do development and operations, and this includes putting on this event. I'm really excited to be able to show you guys what we have tonight. And what that is going to be is a pre-recorded video from Black Belt Eagle Scout, otherwise known as KP. And then they will be joining us. And what we're going to talk about is just storytelling and music. And it'll lead to some very good conversation, hopefully. And with that, let's see, share screen. Can everyone see my screen? Yes, okay, I see a thumbs up. And then, oh, I know I have to share sound as well.
Hello, Na'a Ilhi Fund Blue Jay Festival. My name is KP and I am from the band Black Belt Eagle Scout. I have black hair, brown skin. I'm wearing a sage green turtleneck with some orange dentalium earrings, sitting outside in front of some really beautiful trees, playing a black acoustic guitar, and I am gonna play a new song for you I just finished today. So I'm coming to you from Suquamish territory, and here we go. Here's my new song. where to listen, guide as I want everyone to know. I don't give up. I don't give up. I don't give up. I don't give up anymore. I don't give up. I don't give up anymore. I don't give up. I was only 17. I was only 17. The land, the water, the sky. 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 The land, the water, and sky. Howard Dubstrelab, thank you folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm honored to be a part of Blue Jay Festival. Thank you, Na Ilahi Fun, for inviting me. I hope you have a beautiful rest of the festival. Hoya, Jen.
Okay. Ooh, thank you, KP. It's wonderful. And we have KP right here with us. Thank you very much. And then I guess we'll just dive into some questions. But actually, first, let's have you talk a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Who is Black Belt Eagle Scout?
Hello. Well, thank you so much for having me and asking me to be a part of this really beautiful event. My name's KP, and I'm from the Swinomish Indian tribal community. I'm also a Nupuk and Colville, and those are my ancestors, past, present, and future. And I have a band. It's called Black Belt Eagle Scout. Sometimes I play by myself, which is what you just saw. Sometimes I play, with other people in a louder full band rock formation. But yeah, I don't know. I've been playing music for a while, and it's something I'm really passionate about, and I'm just honored to be able to share with you all today.
How many years have you been playing music?
I've been playing music since I was really young. I started playing piano when I was in grade school, and I played the flute, and I played the snare drum, and then I learned how to play the full drum set, and then I learned how to play guitar. I guess I've always loved music. It's something that is just really spoken to me, and it feels comfortable for me to do and to be in relationship with.
Well, I guess my next question is, so we know when you started going into music, but how about storytelling through writing lyrics, writing songs? When did that relationship begin?
I think it's more of a recent thing for me in terms of like actively storytelling. Because the way that I write music, I write the guitar part first, and everything else, like the instrumentation, comes next. And then one of the last things is like the lyrics. Sometimes the lyrics will come out during the guitar part, but it'll be just like something that I say or something that I sing. And so in my like previous songwriting, it hasn't been, I guess, like cohesive songwriting, but more so recently I have been in a space of changing that up, I guess. I'm working on a new record right now, and I'm writing songs and I'm recording them, and I'm I guess I'm actively like writing things down in a notebook or on a computer to like document the words that I want to tell, and I guess the story of the song. I'm looking at it differently. I like that question because yeah, it's storytelling, I think, is showing up a lot more in my music as of late.
Mhm. Well, so it sounds like that's a more recent development. But would you say music is a favorite way to tell a story since you've kind of discovered that?
I think it's an easy way to tell a story.
Oh, I like that answer.
I think it comes naturally to me, at least, to tell a story. I think that when you play music, or at least when I play music, like the notes that I'm putting out, the melodies that I'm putting out, like those are being accepted by people in certain ways, and like I think that everybody interprets lyrics a different way, and I hope with what I'm sharing, there is something that people get out of that, whether it is a story that they're listening to, or maybe they hear a lyric and it reminds them of something and it can be translated that way. um yeah.
Okay, so I'm talking about people's relationship with music and specifically your music. And this is kind of a hard hitter, but how do you want people to remember your music? I guess, how do you want them to be impacted? How do you want them to come away feeling?
I think that I want people to feel good. I want people to feel happy. um Even though I know that some of my music is kind of sad sounding. But I think the ultimate message that I would wish that people would take away when they listen to my songs, when they listen to my albums, is a sense of healing. Because I think the energy that I put into my songs, whether maybe a song sounds sad or if it sounds happy, I think it's something that I'm trying to give out to people. And I would hope that people end up feeling some sort of um, clarity, or something happens to them when they hear some of the melodies, so that maybe there's some resolve, or maybe there's happiness, or you get to a certain point, because I am putting a lot into the songs and into the melodies, to try and put that energy out there.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, and I'm sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, but have you been in the Pacific Northwest for the majority of your life?
Yeah, I would say the majority of my life. Yes, all of my life, I think.
All of your life? Okay, even better. What influence do you think that, living here has on your music? Because I'm preparing for all this. I definitely read a review that kind of pointed, I don't know, they put it one way, but I want to hear it from the artist's words, I guess. How does the Pacific Northwest influence your music, or what you create?
I think that's changing for me a lot of the time. So I'm not sure what you read, but it's probably different, because I feel like I have grown a lot in the past year or 2 years, and I keep growing. I think my relationship to place keeps like blossoming and changing in different ways. But in terms of this place, and this land, and this water, like that song that I just sang, that's one of my newer songs, and it's about mental health, and it's about getting to a place of feeling like you don't want to give up anymore because you know you love this place so much. The ending lyrics are the land, the water, the sky, and it ends that way because I think in that moment of of being in that song, it's like a realization of like, you know, this is what's important to me: the land, the water, the sky. And I think that, you know, being in this area, um, and especially being from this area, being from Swinomish, like that is something that is definitely very important to me. It's the land and the water and the sky. And so, yeah, I mean, this area deeply impacts the way that I express myself and the way that I guess, move about in my creativity. Um, yeah.
Just for reference, what I had heard or what I had read was they talked about crashing waves because it does just the way the guitars crash and everything reminded the writer about crashing waves like the Pacific Northwest and of course the rain too, right? So, okay, we've covered a couple topics, but do you have a favorite type of story to tell via music?
Mm,
Yeah.
I think that I write a lot about relationships, whether it's relationships with people or if it's relationships with place or with like the land. I think I this the story that I like to tell the most is about connection and is about how what you know you can have connection but or maybe that you don't have connection and what that feels like. So I think those are the stories that I like to tell. I tell a lot of like healing stories for sure, about how you feel, you know, within your life, within my life. So yeah.
Okay. And thank you, Elaine, for putting something in the chat. And feel free, everyone else, to go ahead if you have any specific questions. I may end up rewording them. But so, KP, would you say your music, or what about your music is how do you present your indigeneity in your music? How do you present your lived experience in your music? With regards to whatever you're willing to share from your music.
I mean, I think it's the simple answer is just the fact that I play music. That's how I express myself. Um, it's just how I am. There's no trying to be a certain way, no trying to do this. It's who I am. I'm indigenous. I'm Swinomish. I'm a Nupiaq, and I'm a musician. And everything I do is indigenous because that's who I am.
I like that a lot. We just started talking about relationships and your favorite types of stories to tell with that. But on the other side of that, do you have any, I guess, relationships to certain styles of music, or you know, were there musicians that really inspired you when you set out, or maybe didn't set out but became a musician yourself?
Yeah, I mean, since I'm working on a record right now, I will like go back to certain music or songs to sort of listen to how people record things. And one of the bands that I've been going back to a lot is actually this band called Metric. And this woman, her name's Emily Haynes. I grew up like singing along to her voice, and you know, she's got this really like kind of I don't know how to describe it, but she's got a low voice, and it's just really beautiful. Um, and so I've been listening to a lot of their music lately because I've been trying to like think about how they have recorded their music, and um, so I like go through I go through phases when
I listen to all sorts of music, but I go through phases of what kind of music I'm listening to, whether it's for a purpose or if I'm, or even if I'm not listening to music. But that's what phase I'm in right now.
Yeah, I hear that with the different phases of music. Sometimes, sometimes you just need to change it up. Yeah. So here's another question. Do you have any particular Indigenous artists, Indigenous musicians that you are all about, or that inspire you to make the kind of music you do?
Oh, to make the kind of music.
Or well, just in general.
Oh, I mean, I feel like I'm inspired a lot by my community. Um, you know, I feel like when I would go on tour, I would really just want to meet other Indigenous musicians who played shows like I do, who just sort of have the similar experience as me. And I met some really awesome musicians in Albuquerque. There's just a lot of cool Indigenous musicians everywhere. My friends in Albuquerque, they're in this band called Weed Rat, and they're really amazing. My friend, one of my closest friends, her name's Fabi. She's in this band called Savila and Reina Tropical, and she's amazing. And I've been really lately. I've been getting to know Ray Zaragoza, and listening to her music. There's so many things I think that I don't know that I love.
So I know you said metric earlier, but is there anything else music-wise that you're listening to right now?
I'm listening to my music honestly because I'm recording. So like I'm listening to rough mixes. I'm listening to like I'm listening back. I'm doing a lot of inner listening to my music. And I think it's really fun. I think that like it's really interesting to listen to your own music and to see how it builds. And when maybe if you sit with a song that, because this it's a moment that not everybody is gonna hear, because everybody, when you're a musician, you're putting out, you're creating a song, you're creating a record, like recording it, everybody else hears the finished version, but but you are the one who is hearing how all the other versions are before. And so I'm in that zone of listening to myself right now and trying to figure out what's the best version of the song I want to put out.
Mm-hmm. You said something really interesting that I want to pull on that thread a little bit. You talked about how your music builds, and I wonder, I guess my first question would be, what's the earliest stuff you put out? How has that changed, up until now, what you're putting out now?
Yeah. Now is really cool and exciting because I like this word that I'm using today. Today my word is blossom. My theme word for the day is blossom. I feel like my music right now has blossomed into this different space because I'm working with a producer and I'm involving other people playing on my records. Normally in the past I would play all of the instruments in it on the records, but this time around I'm having my friend play the bass guitar, and I have like a string trio, and and my other friend is going to play the saxophone. And so it's a different zone of the kind of music that I'm doing. I feel like there's a lot of growth that has happened. But when I say like building or like layers and whatnot, I usually write a lot of parts of my music in the recording studio. So like the song that just played, that's like the bare bones song that I have, and I just recorded it this past weekend, and it sounds so different than what you all heard, and I'm really actually excited for when it comes out so that you can like hear the difference. But I add drums, I add like a guitar part, like I add percussion, I add different layers of vocals. And I think that I have like had the opportunity to do that in the past and have different layers and build upon my songs, but I've been doing it just a lot more lately, and I think also taking a lot more risks with my music because I have support of a producer this time around, and I have like all this different kind of creative energy that is lending to the creation of my songs and my music.
Very nice. But wait, I didn't hear you say exactly. When did you say the song that you performed for us, the official or, the finalized version will be out?
Honestly, it probably won't be out for another year. Yeah, but it's because I don't. It takes a long time right now.
Mhm.
Order things, to like order records to be made. And so I'm not done recording the album, and then once I record the album, I've been told that it's taking a longer time to like order vinyl and like all the packaging to put together.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
No worry. Well, I'm super glad we got to see it today, then, that it was shared with us today, especially so beautifully acoustically done. And let's see. I had another question and it just escaped my mind. But let's see. Do you have a favorite? I guess this one's kind of an easy softball one, but do you have particular or genres that you're particular to?
Um, I like all kinds of music, but I think I listen to mostly people in my community, which I guess is technically indie rock or like pop music. I actually love pop music. But yeah, I think in terms of listening to the most, I'm like very into pop music and indie rock music. But I love classical music. I love all types of music. Um, yeah.
Very nice. And I did remember what my question was. I heard you talking about how you were bringing, as you're recording this album and making more music, you're bringing more musicians in. Does that mean a tour for Black Belt Eagle Scout in the future?
I am going to go on tour.
Okay.
I'm going to go on tour. I think. I think I will. The plan is to go on tour in next spring for like a week. I'll be going on a tour. It's just going to be a West Coast tour, but for folks who are local to Na'alihi Fund, I'm pretty sure there'll be a Seattle show. And I think I'm going to play in Vancouver, BC as well. But I'm opening for Tao of Tao and the Get Down, Stay Down. But it's I think it's just so hard to like for me to want to plan things because I feel like we're still living in a world where there's a lot of uncertainty. And so when I say I think it's gonna happen, I really do. I think it's gonna happen, but I'm not totally sure.
Of course. That's the reality we do live in today. But hey, that reality brought us all here today to be able to talk and actually have this conversation. Without the pandemic, we wouldn't have that. Um, let's see. Wondering if there's anything I haven't quite covered with these questions or anything you want to offer up, KP.
I don't know. I mean, I really love, that you all wanted me to be a part of the opening night. I think that one of the things to also mention is that I work with Susan. I work for Potlatch Fund, and so being able to make a connection with Susan in that way is really meaningful, and with Not Ilahi Fund. So I like I just feel very honored that you all asked me to be a part of this and wanted to hear me speak.
Well, we work in relation together. We're glad to have you here as a part of community and as a part of our community event.
Thanks. Awesome. Yeah, I don't know if anybody out there has questions too. I'm down to keep being in conversation. If there are any other questions.
Chloe, I know Chloe's monitoring the YouTube live stream, so if there's any questions, she'll pop them over here too. What was the first instrument you played?
Oh, okay.
And we got questions coming in all over.
The first instrument I played was actually the flute, and then I started playing piano. I mean, I guess it was around the same time. I really loved classical music. I still do. Like I love the way that the piano can make so many beautiful sounds and have so many different notes happening all at once in different rhythms, and I love it so much. And I just, when I was in grade school, I just wanted to learn how to play like Beethoven songs and like Mozart and like all these things. So that was I think in terms of instruments. But I've always sung. I think my parents and my grandfather have just passed that on to me. I was thinking recently that going back to that song that I just sang, I was listening to the recorded version, and the at the very end when I like belted out, I sound like my grandfather, I think. And he was a really amazing like big drum singer, and he would go all over to powwows and just sing. And we had like this like drum group called the Skagit Valley Singers, and his I can always hear his voice in my mind. And I think that like even though like my first instrument was flute and piano, I think probably really my first instrument was my voice, and was like being able to like sing and to have these beautiful melodies of my people. Yeah.
Wonderful. Next question from Shanoa. She says, maybe I missed it, but did you mention who your favorite artists are or who inspires you to make music?
Yeah, I mean, I talked a little bit about it, but I really love my friends who play music. And I think that it's important if you're a musician to try and find that sort of community, and to have people to be able to talk with, to even if it's like how do I figure out how to play a show, or like what sort of stuff do I need to like write this song, or even like do you want to play music sometime. I think that I've definitely relied a lot on my community for support, and that's why I love all of my friends' music and all of their stuff, all of their bands, all of their and yeah, I guess I should without being vague, like I used to live in Portland, Oregon, and I attended Rock and Roll Camp for Girls, and I met a lot of really amazing musicians from Rock and Roll Camp for Girls. And I'm still friends with a lot of these musicians to this day, like my friend Maya. She's in this band called Floating Room, and we used to play music together. She's indigenous Okinawan, and my friend Fabi, who is in this band called Reina Tropical in Sevilla, she, you know, we grew up going to rock and roll camp for girls together, and so I think that when I talk about my community, I'm mostly referring to like really amazing like BIPOC, queer, femme, women musicians, who I got the opportunity to know and to learn music with at the rock camp. Um, so yeah.
Wonderful. We have a question from Sean. What was your inspiration for starting to make music?
I just really love jamming out. Like, I think it's fun. I think it's really fun to like play the guitar, like get into it. I think it's really fun to like bang around on the drums. Like, it's just really fun and it makes me feel good. And I think that, you know, just making music, and having fun about it, like that was something that I was like, I want to do this. Like, I want to try this out. I remember being afraid, I think, at first, because I was like, what is music? Like, what is like, am I trying to sound like somebody? Like, what is this? And I didn't understand what it was until I think it was until I got to rock camp, when I like got there, and I just was like hitting the drums so hard, and I was like, this is fun. I'm gonna I'm gonna be a drummer for a bit and just play in someone's band, and then play guitar, and yeah.
Hmm. And then question from Elaine, do you also teach?
I do teach, Elaine. Yeah, I teach mostly guitar and drums. I think those are the main instruments that I feel confident and comfortable in teaching. Um, yeah, I just taught for the first time this past summer in a while. There's this organization in the Seattle area called Why We Young Women Empowered, and I taught at one of their camps, and it was really fun. And yeah, I taught a group of guitarists, and taught songwriting too. It was mainly like a songwriting, electrified songwriting course. It was really fun to do.
Hmm. And I heard you talk about rock. Was it rock and roll camp?
Yeah, rock and roll camp for girls. I used to teach at rock and roll camp for girls too. Um, it has been a little bit since I've taught with them, but I would do when I was in college, and then like for a good portion after college, I would teach every summer at their summer camps, and sometimes at their after school programs.
That's wonderful that because it sounds like it's for young people, and it sounds like you'd been there when you were younger, but now you get to give back in this way too. And does it sound correct? Am I correct in that?
Um, Wait, will you repeat yourself? I didn't hear.
Yeah, yeah, of course. It sounds like it's a program for younger people, right? Yeah. And then, but you get to give back, having experienced it that way. Now you get to give back teaching. And that just sounds really wonderful and really fulfilling.
Yeah, it's really fun too.
Mm, it's wonderful. Let's see. Do you also teach? I had a question to riff off teaching. I like that question, Aline. That was a good question. Um, also teach. I don't know if we, Chloe, do you have any more questions in the YouTube? Okay, so Chloe says that someone has asked, have you incorporated your language at all in your music?
Recently, I have. Recently, I have. And I'm really excited about it because I started taking Lashutsi lessons through the Puyallup tribe. They have a really beautiful language program, and they do like online Zoom courses, and so I've been learning Lashutsi and sort of getting to know that side of my language, and it's given me the tools to be able to actually like form sentences and to write lyrics. And so most recently is, yeah, I've been using some of my like actual like words in language, but I think also like the way that I sing melodies and that comes out, even though maybe it's not like an actual word. I think that the melodies that I sing, like they it's like the same kind of spirit that I think comes out within our songs as Coast Salish people. Maybe it's not the same words, but I think because I'm singing from the heart and our people singing from the heart. And so it's in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm. It transcends language, would you say? Or does it transcend the music?
Yeah, I think you could say that about it. Yeah. Because it's just all about the energy that's there.
Mm-hmm. And speaking about energy, how do you balance your potlatch job and musical career?
So my musical career is not like, it's sort of on hold because of the pandemic, and I've also just been sort of in hibernation. But yeah, I mean, I love working for Potlatch Fund, and we're at a staff retreat uh, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, and so I spent all day with them today, and then I was like, I'm gonna go to Illiku Fund. I mean, yeah, I am a busy person, but I enjoy being busy. I think that it gives me something to do, keeps me moving.
Mm-hmm. And then another question we have is, where can we keep up with your music? And I guess part of that too would be, where's the best way to keep up to date?
Yeah. So I'm not a big social media person. I think the best way to keep in touch with me is through Instagram. Because I have like a Facebook and a Twitter, but I'm not really on there um as much. And then you can find my music anywhere really. You can search for it online. You can find it probably at your local indie record store. It's on all of those sort of streaming platforms. And I have a website where I think you can buy some of my records. I also have a Bandcamp where you can also buy some records. And yeah.
Wonderful. And then just for everyone who's here, I put the Instagram and then also Black Belt Eagle Scouts website in the chat box.
Thanks.
I know, now I'm checking it out. I'm like, oh, it's here. No, let's see. I don't believe I have any more questions. If anyone else does, please do speak up. But if not, we might just end a little early, give you a little bit, maybe 5 minutes back of your time.
I just wondered, I'm Elaine, if you mentioned that you performed also in Vancouver, and CBC radio has a program, Q, Tom Power, often interviews Native performers, Native musicians. And I wonder if you're connected with that, or if you ever, that would be an interesting place to spread the word about your music as well.
Yeah, thanks, Oline, for your question. I love CBC. They are really kind to me, and they feature my music quite often on on a lot of the Indigenous programs. But I'm interested in the one that you just said because I can't quite. I don't know if I've ever been. I can't remember who I have been interviewed by. Maybe it has been that person or that program. But they're very supportive of me, and they're really nice. Yeah, they like to
Right.
like to share a lot of my stuff.
Yeah. I hear it on NPR. I mean, it comes through NPR in the US. They take some programming from CBC, so that's how I hear it. And he has guest hosts as well. So maybe you've been speaking to a guest host.
Mm-hmm.
I think the program that mostly plays is the CBC Reclaimed.
That program is just called Q, which I think it stands for question or Maybe it stands for queer. I don't know what it stands for.
Cool.
Speaking of NPR, do you have plans to do a Tiny Desk concert anytime soon, or have you already done one?
No, I haven't done a Tiny Desk concert. I would like to do one. They asked me to do one for Native American Heritage Month, but I wasn't in a place to do one. Because I wanna do one with my new music, and my new music isn't out for a while. So I'm hoping that maybe they'll ask me again when it's not Native American Heritage Month and when it's just any old month, because every month is Native American Heritage Month. So yeah.
Mhm.
Wanted to say thank you, KP. I've really enjoyed this tonight. I loved listening to your just how much heart there is in your music and in how you like bring all of you and into it. That's very special.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for having me here, Natalie and Sean and everyone at Not Eli Fun. Thank you.
See Sean typing. Well, yes, thank you again, KP, for opening up Blue Jay Festival. I'm very excited. And okay, so just a couple last minute remarks since I got you all here. If you want to learn anything more about us, you here at Not Ilihi Fund, you can always go to our website at notilihi.org. I'll put that in the chat in a minute. And then we have other Blue Jay Festival events this week. Tomorrow at noon, we're going to have our Sovereign Futures cohort panel. Folks who have received funding and knowledge, among other things, from us, are going to come together and talk about what they've been up to since finishing our first Sovereign Futures cohort. And then we're also going to have Gerard Miller telling a story at 6 p.m., which I am very excited about. We do have Facebook and Instagram, both at Not Ilihi Fund. And those will include links, including the full schedule. And thank you, everyone, for joining us for the first night of Blue Jay. This is very exciting. And here's all the links. And I hope to see y'all next week. Or I'm sorry, not next week, tomorrow. Oh, you can tell it's getting to me. I'm just kidding. And then, I do have Chloe saying for daily event emails, you can sign up for our newsletter on our website. And so it'll go right to your inbox. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And I hope you have a wonderful night and stay dry, stay warm. It's that season. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. You did good, Natalie.
No, just kidding. Thank you. Okay.
Aww.
Okay. Chloe says stay on a minute for YouTube.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I can end it yet.